Home of the prodigal son, young Chad Townsend. And Chad Townsend plays on, plays to the whistle, kicks away for Valentine home. Townsend.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Chad Townsend Show. Please make sure you do subscribe here to the channel on YouTube. We really do appreciate all of your support. And if you've got a question, make sure you drop it in the comments below. We answer all the questions here on YouTube. And if you're listening over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please make sure you rate and review the show. Just doing those little things really help us here on the show. And before we get into it, I'm going to bring him in today. Victor, the inflictor, the producer. How's your weekend, mate? What'd you make of round one?
It's good to have round one back, mate. It was a lot to talk about, lot to unpack. Yeah, it was good to have footy back.
It was good to have footy back. And we got plenty to talk about this weekend, as Victor just said. We're going to talk about Halfback House. We're going to look at two halves from this past weekend, have a look at some of their stats and their involvements with their tries. We've got Big Footy Guy of the Week, where we nominate three guys who absolutely had a day out this weekend and some key stats and performances from them. What's trending in the NRL? We've got a funny one there. What's trending later on in the show? And obviously some fan questions as well, where you guys, like I said, send in your questions. We'll answer them here live on the show, and then we'll have a lot of fun with that. So before we, let's just get straight into it. I guess one of the biggest moments of the weekend was, unfortunately for us, the Roosters versus Broncos game. A really disappointing result for us on the weekend. Obviously, round one against the Broncos. One I probably didn't see coming, to be fair. And I'm standing here at the moment with a lot of mixed emotions. I guess when you change clubs and you get your first jersey or your debut for a new club, it's a really special moment. You obviously get your jersey, you get your name, you get your number on the jersey as well. And it's exciting. Obviously, that number is now, it's your number forever. I had my family at the game. And obviously, the result, it wasn't great for us. And I'm standing here right now holding myself accountable for the role that I played in the game. It was disappointing. It wasn't a great result. I thought we started the game really well. We had a lot of momentum early on. We were completing, but we gave the Broncos a little too much ball than we would have liked, and we probably, I guess, we didn't handle last plays a lot. We didn't handle them very well. The Broncos ran the ball a lot on last plays, and we didn't handle that part of the game really well. And then I think our short side defense, we didn't handle that part of the game really well either. Payne Haas was causing a bit of havoc on our edges. He was running a little bit wider than usual, and for a big fella, we needed to do a better job on him. And the Broncos capitalised on those errors that we made. So, while the game, the scoreline isn't pretty, I still think there was a lot of good takeaways out of the game, a lot of lessons for us to learn. It sits with you for a couple of days, when you've played the game, and then it's not until your post-game review with the team and with the coaches and your individual review. And once that's done, you kind of have to move on from it straight away. So all that stuff has been done now for us. Obviously, we played Thursday night, first game of the weekend. So we've done all that stuff now, and it's time to kind of shift your focus into the following week. And that's the best thing about the NRL is that, you have to move on straight away. You have to put your focus into the next game. And, I stand here today as well. Like, people, obviously have said a lot since our first game. They'll criticise us, and, rightfully so. I get that. It's part of, professional sport. But also, standing here as an active player right now, speaking to you guys, I enjoy this stuff, you know what I mean? So I could be quiet, I could say nothing, and I could just go into hiding. But for me, I enjoy talking about rugby league, and I always enjoy being accountable. So I'm happy to front up and keep talking, about the game and hold my head up high, and the rest of my teammates as well. That's kind of what we need to do, stick together, especially after, such a difficult loss. And I want to give you guys, at the end of the day, the access to what a current player is thinking and feeling about the game. Like, there'll be times where hopefully, we've won, we've played well, that I can come on here and we can talk about that stuff as well. So regardless, for me, look, I'll be turning up every single week. I've locked in this podcast every Monday for the season. So I'll be here whether you like it or not. Victor, anything to add there?
No, not really. I think you summed it up pretty good.
Mate.
We're going to be here whether they like it or not. So that's fine.
Whether you like, I mean, hopefully you like it. Hopefully you like and comment and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated for sure. And round 2, it doesn't get any easier for us. We move into to play Penrith, the reigning champs, out at CommBank Stadium. They've moved their home games to there for this season because of, I'm pretty sure they're redeveloping the whole Penrith Stadium. So, look, like I said, there was some positives to take out of the game. I thought our debutants really showed some class, and the first one was Rob Toya. Man, what a debut from Rob. He has gone through hell over the past couple of years with some injuries and spent a lot of time on the sidelines, but he finished the game with 141 metres, 1 line break, 2 try assists, and 5 tackle breaks. And the thing with Rob is he's very quiet. He doesn't say much. He likes to keep to himself, or just stay quiet and humble, very humble, comes from a big family, and I've really enjoyed getting to know him. He's come out of his shell a little bit here and there. He's had an amazing preseason. I don't think he missed a session at all, which if you can do that in preseason, it's an amazing, amazing feat. He's very, very strong. I've seen him lift in the gym. He squats insane. He can squat that heavy and deep as well. And he's got elite footwork. Look at his legs. He's very, very strong. And that try, wow, what a try that was. We kind of set up over to the left side of the field, and Victor Radley, he got the ball and he would skip across and sort of play some shape with the middles. Then he'd pass out the back to me. I kind of bobbled the ball a little bit. I didn't get a great catch on it. And then Teddy swung around with us as well. And Gamut Shibasaki shot out of the line. And that was kind of the cue for me to kind of throw that tunnel ball, which kind of skips Teddy and goes straight to Rob. Rob would catch the ball, and then I guess the rest is just kind of history. He turns on the burners. He gets to Ben Hunt. He squares him up, steps, goes straight through him, breaks through the line, gets to the fullback, and then draws and passes to Dom Young. And Dom Young would go and score our first try of the night. And I was pumped up for him. I was in the back, chasing, going, just go, Rob. Go, Rob. Go, Rob. An amazing feeling. I'm pretty sure that was his first touch in the NRL as well. So, an amazing try. And Dom Young would go on to score another try off Rob in the second half as well. Celesi Foketi and Taylor Lasalu both also made their debuts off the bench for us. Some young kids who have bright futures for us as well. Showed some really good glimpses of what they can do. The game finished with 59% possession to the Broncos. We had 41, which obviously means, we were behind from the 8 ball with regards to possession. We made a lot more tackles than the Broncos did. Obviously, they had a lot more ball than us. They were able to build pressure. They were able to make us tackle, forced fatigue into our defensive line. As I said, Victor Radley, he had a Category 1 HIA, which means he won't be available to play this weekend against Penrith. He went off, and I feel like the momentum really shifted. Obviously, in our game, it's a contact sport, and it was a complete accident. He managed to cop Teddy's shoulder straight to the face. And one thing I will say on that is, I've, since being at the Roosters and looking from the outside in, the club have, to me, been the leaders in regards to care for concussion. I feel like they really set the bar high with their duty of care for the players. So, Victor, he was at training yesterday. He was smiling. He was happy. He's following all the protocols, and he'll return, once he's passed all those protocols and when he's ready to play and his health and everything, gets put as a priority. So, we wish him the best, and hopefully he can get back for us sooner rather than later. I did mention, the chaos of last plays that the Broncos were able to beat us with. They, like I said, they ran the ball a lot on last plays. And it was just that chaos from sideline to sideline where we, probably didn't handle it as much as, we would have liked. And like I said, it was a disappointing result. We take a lot of lessons, especially after watching all the video and things that we can improve on. We've got a big week at training this week to improve those things, and another big challenge against the Panthers this weekend. Anything to add there, Victor, from your end before we move on?
I think it's like you said, the Broncos were so strong, and what their preseason trial kind of translated into that round 1. We kind of expected that, and for me, they're my year premiers. I think they're going to do very well this year.
Yep.
And they kind of showed that, Payne Haas is looking so fit.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see him in that Blues jersey.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, they had a lot of standout performance. I thought Payne, Paddy Carrigan, I thought their middles were really strong. And I think Ben Hunt, it was interesting to see the role he played actually with him and Adam Reynolds. Ben Hunt probably, let Adam Reynolds, I guess, have a bit more of a say with the ball. Benny was playing 5'8", so interesting to see how that sort of duo plays out this season. I really enjoyed coming up against those guys, and obviously they got the chocolates on the weekend. So we'll move on to the next game, Victor, and that's the Knights versus the Tigers. A very tight game, this one. Even share of possession, Tigers 51% and the Knights 49%. The Tigers would go on to complete at a much higher rate than the Knights, 79% versus 64%. And it's not usual you see those types of completion rates where the winner completes at 64%, which to me just kind of shows that the Knights found a way to win defensively. Watching the game, I thought the Tigers, were going to win. They had a lot of the momentum, and you could see that Benji in the post-match press conference was, pretty disappointed with his team, or the fact that they didn't get the win. You could see that he was happy with the improvements they made over the past couple of seasons. They looked like a completely different side to me. I thought with some of their additions and the way that they played. And according to ABC, Andrew Moore, they got a standing ovation at halftime, the Tigers. So it seems that, things are shifting there at the Tigers. I think their standards have definitely improved, and the way that they're playing obviously has improved as well. They'll, to me, be a big improver for this season. And they had some key performers. Jarrell Skelton in his club debut, 210 metres. He was incredible. I thought the way he carried the ball. Terrell May, 189 metres, 34 tackles. Always looking to carry the ball forward, Terrell May. I thought he was really solid. He played 65 minutes in the front row. I thought he was one of their standouts. And then Kalen Ponga for the Knights. To me, it wasn't usually... it usually is the try assists and the long balls and the footwork that stands out for Kalen. But it was his defensive effort this weekend for me that really stood out. The way he was covering ground, he was telling people where to go, he was chasing kicks in the dead ball line, stopping tries, getting out of the in goal. To me, saving tries and being in the picture and leading from the front in those areas was something that really impressed me with his game. And obviously, as well, he ran for 200 metres with the ball. So, Kalen Ponga, pat on the back for him. And Dylan Lucas, I thought, was another one who was outstanding. 150 metres on the edge. Bradman Best, 192 metres in the centres as well. Other notable performers for the Knights who take the round one win against the Tigers. Next game we'll quickly chop into was the Rabbitohs versus Dolphins. Some notable losses for the Dolphins before the game. Obviously, with Cyclone Alfred, Nicarima, Mark Nichols and Kenny Bromwich electing to stay home with their families, which I guess you have to applaud that decision. It's a very, very tough decision. Obviously, this game was moved from Redcliffe down to Sydney in the wake of the bad weather up there in southeast Queensland. And some of those houses up there don't have power. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people in southeast Queensland who don't have power, who've been managing all the storm through the past, week or so or however long. So, probably a really disruptive week for the Dolphins, and they had obviously plenty to play for with regards to, representing their families in their area. Jermaine Azarko and Tyrone Munro will both go on to score doubles for their teams. But to me, it was probably the cool head of Souths, that kept them in the game. And one thing with the Wayne Bennett teams is that you know that they're going to complete high, and this is probably something that he's brought back and instilled into Souths, was their ability to just complete and kick the ball back to you. And they had 85% completion and 6 errors, which has probably been unheard of for Souths over the past couple of years. Their error rate has always been extremely high. They've always been willing to chance their arm, but 6 errors in 80 minutes of football from Souths, if they can keep that up, they'll be in, pretty much nearly every game. So that was a real interesting stat, I thought, that came out of the game for South Sydney. The Dolphins weren't too far behind, 75% completion, although they did make 12 errors with the ball, which obviously would give the Rabbitohs a lot more field position. For me, it was great to see Tom Gilbert back, the captain of the Dolphins. He is a real standard setter. He's a Queensland origin player. He's an absolutely great bloke. He trains absolutely the house down. It was great to see him back on the field after, such a big layoff with injury. And another person I was really impressed with South Sydney was young Hubner. I think his name was Victor. Was making his NRL debut, I'm pretty sure.
Lucky Hubner, old Dolphins player.
Yeah. So had he made his debut for the Dolphins, or was this his...
I believe this was his debut. I'm not too sure.
Pretty sure it was his NRL. Pretty sure it was his debut for South, but he'd already played for the Dolphins. We will fact check that. But to me, wow, he looked absolutely solid. I was impressed with the way that he played, feeling Cam Murray's boots in the middle, the way he was, just his aggression in defence. He bent his back. He won a lot of tackles. Just looked comfortable as that sort of ball player in the middle. So a real find for the Dolphins in the wake of the loss of Cam Murray.
Yeah, he's played three games for the Dolphins.
3 games for the Dolphins. So there we are. Yeah. So... yeah, not his NRL debut, but he's obviously his South's debut. And obviously, Uncle Wayne's brought him down to Sydney. He's seen what he's like, and he's brought him down there. So, this game was a tight one. It could have gone either way. I just thought that maybe the disruptions of, what happened to the Dolphins potentially could have cost them this game. But, well done to South. Their ability to make only 6 errors in 80 minutes of football, 85% completion has won them the game. So keep an eye on that stat for Souths this year.
Just an honourable mention as well to Jake Humphries. We talked about him last week. I thought he was really good.
Yep.
Obviously getting his chance over Lewis Dodd, who was suspended this week, but had 19 kicks.
Yeah.
Had 30 tackles, which is crazy.
Which is a lot for a halfback. Wow, that is heaps for a halfback. I mean, this guy is like, he could be... Isn't his like biceps? Isn't
He's
big this kid is, man? His like biceps are like freaking bulging. He's got like the long luscious hair as well. Yeah, that's a great shout, Victor. Congratulations to Jamie Humphries, starting halfback. I'm pretty sure, is he a half like a did he play halves in the junior? Or are you not too sure? Like, I'm pretty sure he's a halfback. Yeah. So congratulations to him. I thought he was really solid. That kicking game, that long kicking game, left foot. I'm pretty sure he was too, the young fella. So, congratulations to him. And I think we need to check this, but I think he might be a shy boy. I'm not 100% sure. But, yeah.
Oh,
if he
just
is,
said he's from Sydney.
Yeah, he's from Sydney. So, we'll check that as well. Congratulations to Jamie Humphries. What a performance. Mate, we'll move on to the next game. Dragons versus the Bulldogs, the Saturday 5:30 game. I was at home on the couch watching this game. My good friend Valentine Breath Holmes unfortunately would go down 28-22 the Bulldogs. And the undoing of the Dragons this game was their errors. 16 errors. We just spoke about Souths, and they only made 6 errors in the game the night before. Well, the Dragons would make 16 errors and a completion rate of 68%, which isn't going to win you football games. I thought they were in the game for a long time, and they looked like they were going to fight back. But to me, the Dogs, they just held on. They did enough, and they probably needed to get, I think, Val Holmes and Moses Sully a little bit more ball on the edges, both. I mean, Moses Sully is an absolute wrecking ball. You saw him every time he had the ball. He was like breaking tackles. And to me, I think they need to try and get the ball more to their strike centers. They're both, game breakers. They can break tackles, and they look dangerous every time they got the ball. So some other things to come out of the game. Young Couchman, the young forward, looks as though he's done his ACL. So that was, really devastating news. We really wish him all the best with his recovery. Jacob Little, what a performance from him off the bench for the Dragons. That try, I think, Victor, was incredible. What'd you make of that?
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The speed he's got is incredible. Like, he obviously heads up play, took the quick tap, and all the Dogs fell asleep, and it kind of sparked their comeback. Well, semi-comeback. Yeah, he made a big difference off the bench.
It did spark the semi-comeback. I think that, like, just the awareness, the IQ to make to tap and go and just to take off, and then get to Connor Tracy and just be like, boom, right foot. I'm pretty sure it was, turn on the jets, and then I never knew he was that quick, but yeah, wow, what a performance from Little. I think we might be seeing a little bit more of him as the season goes on, some more minutes maybe with him and Cookie on the field together playing that kind of roaming role. But to me, yeah, what a performance from Jacob Little. That was an incredible try. Next up, it was Tui Pelotu. Wow. Tui Pelotu, 3 tries, 3 celebrations.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. Show me the money, Tui Pelotu. Wow. I mean, yeah, 3 tries, 3 celebrations. I absolutely loved it. I'm sitting there on the couch just watching Tui Pelotu. You know, he's celebrating while behind on the scoreboard. It's probably something that I wouldn't be doing, but I mean, I love it. I love it. You know, get out there, be yourself, celebrate, score those tries. From everything I hear from the Dragons, he's a big energy man, which you need those guys in your team. And I was just absolutely loving it. I can't remember which try it was, but one of the tries he scored and they were behind and he's celebrating, and then Kyle Flanagan had to get the ball off him to give to Val Holmes so they could kick the goal. I would like to know what the money celebrations is. I think maybe he's off contract and he needs a new contract. So scoring 3 tries is going to get you some money. So, man, anything to add on that, Victor? Did you like it?
I was watching. I was like, mate, you're 18 points down. Get the ball back to Val. And let him kick the.
We need to kick the goal.
But like, sure, whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah, man.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was funny. I loved it. I wish. I know Try July. Obviously, the players get around the celebrations, but I think there's more room for celebrations throughout the whole season. And like I said, I'm probably not one who would celebrate when I'm behind and down. But Tui Pelotu, man, I'm giving that a round of applause. Congratulations. Yeah, that was awesome. Love to see it. And for the Bulldogs, well, Satili Tupanua was outstanding on the weekend for the Bulldogs. Comes off the bench, played in the middle. I'm pretty sure Tupanua did. And I haven't seen much of him in the middle. Usually would come on and play on the edge, or has even played in the centres for the Roosters in the past. But he would break the Dragons line wide open on both of his occasions, both of those times when he'd score. The middle part of the field go straight through, which I know the Dragons coaching staff would be very disappointed with. So Tupanua, yeah, what a performance from him, and especially coming off the back of pretty sure he didn't play a trial game as well. So just kind of speaks, volumes of how he's kind of handled himself. Connor Tracy, 224 metres and 1 try. I really am a massive fan of Connor Tracy, the way he plays, the way he attacks the ball, the way he goes about his business. He's just like a pinball. He's so quick. He's so fast. He runs the ball incredibly well. So he was really solid. And also a shout out to Marcelo Montoya. Look, it was great to see Mars back at the Bulldogs, one of his junior club, after spending some time establishing himself over at the Warriors, has come back to Sydney. He scored a try in his return for the Bulldogs, so that was great to see. And the Bulldogs would go on, obviously, like we said, to win this game. The Dragons would fight back, but it wouldn't be enough. And the errors from the Dragons, probably their middle defence, has probably let them down. So a few things to work on, but some positive signs for the Dogs. Next game was the Manly Sea Eagles versus the Cowboys. Manly would go on to win this game 42-12, and wow, what a start from Manly Sea Eagles. Just Eagle Rock. The Eagles were rocking at what's it called? 4 Points Park. I'm pretty sure.
4 Points Park, yep.
4 Points Park. What do you think of Manly as a Sharks fan, Victor?
They're looking like a bit of a danger squad. They just ambushed the Cowboys off the bat. The 4 Pines Park's looking like a bit of a fortress to
and it always
play at the moment.
It always has been, to be honest. 4 Points Park, it has been a very tough place to play, and the past couple of years we had a lot of success there. It is a very tough place to play. We had some really good wins against Manly, so I thought the Cows would go in there with a lot of confidence, but they just kind of missed the start. Manly just started incredibly well. In the first 20 minutes, the possession was 80% to Manly, 20% to the Cowboys. I think the Cows literally had one or two sets in the first 20 minutes, and the Manly had 4 tries in the first 12 minutes of the game. So that is just Absolutely insane.
What do you even do at that point? Well, like when you start a game and the other teams just come out firing off the block and you're away at a sellout crowd, what's going through your head?
Yeah, look, it's extremely difficult. I think it's almost like just a wave of momentum is just coming at you and it's just knocked you over and you're like, you can't breathe. It's like, how do we go forward? We're starting these sets. We're not getting anywhere. We're not establishing the game. We're not putting any pressure on the opposition. We're fatigued. The opposition is fresh, and it's like it's such a slow process to try and get it back. I mean, you kind of need someone to have a strong run or put a big hit on or lift the energy in that type of way. So it is extremely difficult, and that's why I guess you see teams who could score one try, then they score another try, then they score another try. It's like a mountain. You know, they score back-to-back tries relatively quickly because they've got all the momentum. It's very, very hard to kind of get back. So Manly would have 57% of the ball, Cowboys 43%, and both teams will complete at 80 and 85%. But the Cowboys would make over 100 more tackles than Manly, which just kind of shows the fatigue that the Cows had in their line, especially from the early on exchanges when Manly had all the ball. One of the biggest things that I really enjoyed watching this game was probably just the side of Turbo. Seeing him back in the game and backfiring, I've heard a lot of things about him over the preseason, how well he's been training, and yeah, it was just good to see him in top flight. He looked like he's going to have another big season and could be there or thereabouts around, for in contention of Daily M if he continues this kind of streak with Manly. A quick shout out to Braden Burns, 213 run meters and a try for the Cowboys. Look, I thought he was really, really solid on that right wing, replacing club legend Kyle Felt. And in that try, he scored in the second half where he turned on the afterburners. Look, 213 metres is no easy feat in the NRL, so a massive shout out to him. And for Manly, there was no short of solid performances from them. Turbo at 203 metres, as we just spoke about, 3 line break assists, 2 try assists, 8 tackle breaks, and Lehigh Hopewadi as well, 223 metres. Look to have that wing spot sort of locked up there for Manly. Ola Kawatu, another really solid try from him, another performance which we'll talk a little bit about later on in Halfback House as we talk about that try. But we'll move on. Before we move on, I guess not a great start for the Cows. Going into Manly where they've just started, really, really strongly. I know that they'll be disappointed with that game and we'll have a lot to work on. So can they turn it around? 100% they can. Definitely. It's just round one, and I know it's a bit of a wake-up call. Same thing for us. You go back to the drawing board, you look at your review, individual review, what can you work on, what can you improve on, and then you get to work and you fix those things up. So we'll move on to Storm versus Eels. The lone Sunday game, and another big scoreline, another dominant performance from the Storm, who would go on and continue this streak for the Craig Bellamy round 1 coaching streak where he hasn't lost, I'm pretty sure, 21 to 22 years, Victor.
Yep. 22-0 now.
It's insane. Every single round 1, and it's almost like this is like the grand final for the Storm. They build up, they prepared. You can tell how much it means to them. What a performance from them. Pappenhausen, I thought he was really strong after not playing any trials, coming back from some injuries in the preseason, I'm pretty sure. But the Storm were just playing at a pace that the Eels could not handle. And at 26 minutes, it was 26-0. And at halftime, it was 46-6. So it's just like an avalanche of points. And it's like, I don't know what Jason Riles would have said at halftime.
What do you think he said at halftime?
I mean, what do I think he said? What would I say? I would say, look, I would go, what's done is done. Let's sit down. Let's take a breath. Let's get your eyes up. Everyone, eyes up, because I know there'll be heads down. There'll be bad body language. Everyone, get your eyes up. What's done is done. We can't change what's happened in the past. What we need to focus on now is this second half. We need to approach this second half like it's 0-0. Don't worry about the result of the game. Don't worry about the first half. I want us to get back to the things we practice. Get back to the game plan. What's the focus? What was the game plan? Let's execute that. Let's get our completion rate up. Let's fix up our defense. Let's talk, let's communicate, but let's stick together. We have to try and win this second half. If we win this second half, we can take that momentum into next week and we can build off that. So that's kind of what I would say. Anything? What do you think about that? Do you like that advice?
Yeah, a bit of motivation. Like I've been in a dressing room where I'm down. Like,
yeah,
so it's deflating. But you definitely need a leader to step up, and I think that's maybe what the Eels were lacking on the weekend.
I mean, obviously, Mitch Moses wasn't there, and obviously he's their best player. But as well, it's like Riles, said post game that he's taken some positives out of the game, and there is positives to take out of the game, even with a loss like that. And also, I saw the Riles said the amount of changes that he's made to the club. Like, it's not like you come in and the first game and everything's just going to tick, tick, tick. Everything's just going to fall into place. Like, this stuff takes time. So I think, there is time for this team to sort of evolve and play and find themselves out with their new coach and the style of football they want to play. But also, it is round one. Like, you can't be in there as a new coach and absolutely just ripping and spraying your players because, there's so much more football to go. So we kind of have to, cop it on the chin, be accountable for it, and then move on. This is the game we play. It's a cycle. You can't hold on to things. You got to improve. You got to evolve. You got to adapt, and these things happen. So, obviously a disappointing result for the Eels, but some really strong performance from the Storm. Eli Katoa, has just basically cemented himself as one of the top tier back rows in the competition now. A real standout performer since joining the Storm from the Warriors. And I just feel like Eli has now joined that club of where Craig Bellamy brings in someone from a team who probably is a little bit stagnant in their career. He brings them in and then turns them into just an out-and-out NRL player. And you look at some of their other guys in that team who have done the same. Josh King, who came down from the Knights as just now an out-and-out starter for the Storm, plays a key role for them in the middle. Nick Meaney, he's come in and now, again, just another star that this Craig Bellamy's just turned. And he's got a history of doing this over 20 years. So I think, that's something for me that I've looked at and admired from the outside in about Craig Bellamy and the Storm that I've really, really liked. The way that he's just got the ability to turn plays, give them an opportunity. And then it's like once these guys come to the Storm, they don't leave, Victor. They don't leave. They come, they stay, and they'll probably stay for less money because they're having success. And it's just, it needs to be studied. It needs to be studied.
I want to give a small shout out to Jack House as well.
Yep.
I thought he was massive and far out this season. I'm excited to see him. He had glimpses of what he could be last season.
Yep.
But he was an absolute wrecking ball this game.
Yeah, definitely. 250 metres he ran for, so really, really impressive game from Jack Howarth. And obviously, there was so many standout performers, it's kind of hard to pick them all. Harry Grant, Munster, Hughes, Howarth, Katoa, all of them. Just goes to show that Storm are going to be the Storm again this year, going to be really, really hard. And they've had the same team as they did last year that pretty much made the grand final and added Stefano Toikamanu, who we, haven't even spoken about yet. Is at his best a New South Wales Origin player. So, going to be a really, really hard team to beat. Obviously, they didn't even have Nelson in the front row yesterday. But just quickly, the Craig Bellamy doco, which I've seen, I don't know if you've seen it, Victor. I'm really keen to sort of see that.
Yesterday, I think.
Hey, did it?
I think it premiered yesterday.
Yeah, I think it's on Stan, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so Craig Bellamy doco, look, I'm definitely going to get my time to watch that. I'm really, really interested. Massive fan of Craig Bellamy, so yeah, looking forward to watching that. Mate, what do we got next, Victor?
Big footy guy of the week. Big footy guy of the week.
Big footy guy of the week, guys.
Had some big performances this week.
Some big performances this week. Big footy guy. Look, we every week we pick out 3 guys and we nominate them for our big footy guy of the week, performances of the week. We spoke about him before, but our first nomination is Satili Tupanua in 42 minutes off the bench, 2 tries, 19 runs, 173 metres, 2 line breaks, 5 tackle breaks off the back of no trials, starting at a new club and playing in the middle where he hasn't played too much football before. We want to give him his flowers this week. Satili Tupanua is our first nomination for Big Footy Guy of the Week. The second nomination is Christian Tuipulotu. 3 tries, 3 try celebrations, and 0 tackles. I'm pretty sure. 0 tackles in a game. 3 tries, 0 tackles. Absolutely love that. Great stats. Obviously, we spoke about the celebrations. He's our next nomination, Tuipulotu. What do you guys make of those celebrations? Do you want to see more of it? Do you want to see less of it? Do you think we should see it all season than just in Try July? Let us know in the comments below. What's your take on that, Victor? Anything from you on that?
I love the try celebrations.
Yep.
I think like you see it in the NFL, like every time they score a touchdown, it's like they have a little dance and stuff, and I love that because the fans get into it.
Yep.
But for me, when you're 18 points down, get the ball back and
the ball back and try and keep the goal.
But yeah, I love it. I want to see more of it for sure.
Yeah, perfect. I definitely agree. And our last nomination for Big Footy Guy of the Week is Turbo. Tommy Turbo, we spoke about him before as well. We're very happy to see him back. 2 try assists, 9 tackle breaks, 1 line break, 3 line break assists. Turbo was back in fine form and doing turbo things. So there are 3 nominations. You can head over to our Instagram at Chad Townsend Show. You can vote on the poll or drop a comment in the comments below. Whatever you see on you'll see the post and you'll be able to figure it all out. So you can check that out. And if you get involved in that competition, you do go in the draw to win a $50 voucher to playersgolfclub.com.au. So some awesome stuff there. Victor, what do we got next?
What's trending? I've got a little clip to show you.
Okay.
Bit of commentary from Dan Ganane.
Yep. All right, let's go.
Doing the rounds.
Yep.
I'll play that now.
Moju gets there. Newcastle on the verge of mucking it up again, but Moju finds his way to the line.
What do you think he said?
Yeah, well, he definitely said mucking around. And I've seen the clip of Dan Ganane since this incident. It does sound like the F word. I mean, it is funny. It definitely, if you just watch it, it's like he's definitely said the F word. And I can see why it's gone viral. I did see Dan Ganane address this on Triple M, and he was saying the same. He wasn't sure whether it was like the crowd or the Fox sound layovers or whatever it was. But I think it'd be hard. You're live commentating. Of course, there's going to be like errors at some stage.
Slip-ups, for sure.
Yeah, there's going to be slip-ups, but
he definitely said mucking.
He definitely said mucking, and like we have to believe him.
I believe him.
I believe him. I mean, it's not like you out there. I mean, he's a professional. You know what I mean? He's been doing this for such a long time, but it just kind of shows you, you know, with the broadcast, like what line can you actually go to with the broadcast?
It made me think, like, is there room for like an after hours commentary for the NRL where people are allowed to go on, they're all drunk or something, and they're just allowed to swear their head off? Like,
it actually, I mean, maybe not that swearing and stuff, but I know in the NFL, ESPN and ESPN Plus or ESPN2. So for Monday Night Football, they have their ESPN game, which is shown with their usual commentators. And then on ESPN2, they have the Manning cast where Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, they basically watch the game and the game gets shown, but they're in a studio dissecting the game, talking about the game. They have guests on the show. It's kind of a live cast and a very different way to watch the game than the kind of standard. So I think that's something that will eventually come here in the NRL, Victor.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'd like to be a part of it, to be honest. Maybe
100%.
one day. We'll see. But yeah, look, I love that we're talking about that. I'm a big fan of Dan Ganane. I think he does some great stuff. Goodbye. That's kind of his like signature, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, he's probably not at Ray Rabbits Warren status yet. He's at like the proper GOAT. That's why I've got Ray Warren in the intro. I don't know if you guys have known. It's just all Ray Warren in the intro because he's my favourite. He was my favourite commentator of all time. So, yeah, shout out to Rabs. Mate, we'll move on to Halfback House. We're going to have a look at 2 halfbacks from this past weekend and their performances. DCE, the first performance that we really liked this weekend. He had 1 try, 2 try assists, 9 kicks, 2 line breaks and 2 line break assists. But it was the try he set up for Ola Kawatu that we really enjoyed, when the Manly Sea Eagles would shift out to their right. DCE would get it out the back. He would swing across field. And then Garrick, he would have that lead where Olakau'atu would be out the back, and they just wanted to, I guess, isolate young Jackson Purdue and get Olakau'atu one-on-one with him. And geez, what a tough tackle it is for Olakau'atu out there on the edge. He gets the ball off Cherry Evans, out in space, runs straight over Jackson Purdue one-on-one, and would go over too big, too strong to score. So Olakau'atu and Cherry Evans, that combination is going to be one to watch this season. They've been really consistent over the past couple of years, and we just saw that Cherry Evans was a real standout for that Manly team, as he has been, over the 15 years for his career. So well done to them. The next standout performance for us was Cameron Munster from the Melbourne Storm. 66 run meters, 2 try assists, 3 line break assists, and 5 kicks. So Munster was doing Munster things. He skips across the field a lot throughout this game. He carries the ball a lot, but it was the try he set up for Eli Katoa where he would skip across from the left, his usual left side of the field, in and out, through under the defence, and then he'd link up with the right back rower. So it's not kind of often you see left half to right back rower, gets over to Eli Katoa, hits Eli goes through a hole. Then he would break through the defence, get through the fullback, he'd show and go, and then too big, too strong, he gets the ball down. Munster, another one to watch this year. I mean, every year we hear about Munster doing these things, staying off the drink, changing his body around. I don't really know Cam Munster too well, but I just think he's got a bit of an out-there personality where he's always doing something and he's hyperactive. So that's the way he kind of plays his football. He's an everywhere man. Anything to add there, Victor?
I just want to ask a question as a defense, watching him skip across the line, what makes that so effective? What makes him so effective in kind of lulling that defense to sleep while he's skipping across the line? Yeah,
when someone skips across the line, you kind of got to get your line in a straight line. If you've got someone ahead and behind, you can kind of dig into that gap, and then it forces that defender to kind of come in. So if you've got a straight line, you can continue to press forward. That's the way to defend that. But just that kink in the line or that stand back is something that is really, really hard to handle. So that's what happened in the case there with Parramatta. So they didn't have a straight line. They had a disconnected line, and Munster takes advantage of that.
He's a gun, isn't he?
He's a gun. He's a gun, and he's probably going to do that all season. And maybe for Queensland too. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Yes. Mate, what do we got next?
Fan questions. Got a couple, actually, a fair few fan questions today. We'll do a bit more than we did the last couple of weeks.
All right, let's jet through them. Let's go.
NRL Unleash asks, he's a 13-year-old.
Yep.
What are some tips for him to make it to the NRL as a halfback?
Great question. Look, I think you've got to be obsessed with the game. You've got to practice. You've got to go up to your local footy ground. You've got to kick the ball before training and after training. You've got to pass. You just got to practice your core skills. So kicking, passing, playing. I used to live just up the road from my own my junior club, and I used to be up there every single day, just practicing little kicks, long kicks, goal kicking, kicking the ball to myself. So I think it's just practice and repetition and time over the years. If you do that consistently, you're obsessed with the game, and then obviously you play well. Pair that with the mindset as you get older. But at the moment, as a 13-year-old, it's around enjoyment. First and foremost, you have to enjoy, you have to love what you do, and then just being obsessed with it. So hopefully that helps.
All right, next one. Chris Hahn, 56, asks, you've played with a lot of incredible talents. Who has been the most influential player you've teamed up with and why?
Jeez, most influential player. I'd probably have to say Paul Gallen. Most influential player, yeah. Probably have to say Paul Gallen. I just think his presence on the field, when he talked, you listened, he led by example. And I think his ability to kind of bring a group together and, just do the hard things was, incredible.
Love it. Third one. Who did you look up to when you were a young kid? The real hero 747 asks.
I used to love Brad Fittler. I used to love Matty Rogers. I was a Sharks fan as a kid, so I liked a lot of Sharks players. I mean, Adam Dykes, Mitch Healy. Yeah, look, there's a lot of Sharks players, but I think the non-Sharks players were definitely like Brad Fittler, like Andrew Johns. Yeah, those guys, for sure.
And then a couple Instagram questions.
Yes.
We had a little poll yesterday, or asked us some questions.
Yep.
What do the Dolphins have to do to win a premiership?
The Dolphins probably need to be more consistent. I think they've got a team that is, a very good one, but probably their consistency with the defense. I think you look at like the top tier teams have a real desire, or a real steal in their defense. I don't think the Dolphins have that yet. I think the Dolphins are great with their attack, obviously with Katoa and Hammer and Nikorima and Jeremy Marshall-King, but I think their defense kind of needs to just go that little bit extra. And I think Tom Gilbert is the man to push that to the forefront of their game. Yep.
Which team are you most excited to verse this year?
Probably the Dragons or the Cowboys. Having a chance to play Val against the Dragons or having a chance to play the Cows would be a lot of fun. And, when you play against your mates and your best friends, it's always a lot of fun. You get bragging rights if you get the win. So, yeah, those guys for sure.
And final one, how was the atmosphere in Allianz?
Atmosphere was incredible. It is such an amazing place to play. The stadium is magnificent. The ground is awesome. You run out there, the lights, everything. It's like the home of rugby league in Sydney. A real honour for me to go out there and play. So, look, I really enjoyed, the whole thing about playing at Allianz Stadium, and having that stadium as like your home ground is absolutely bloody awesome. So, yeah, it was really, really cool. And, it wasn't sold out, but I can imagine what a sold out crowd would sound like there. It'd be bloody incredible.
Yep.
Anything else there?
That was it.
Sweet.
That was good.
All right, mate. Well, we'll wrap it up. Thanks again, Victor, for your time this week. Anything else? Anything to add there before we wrap it up today?
No, let's just obviously next week, hopefully we get to talk a bit of a better performance. Like Panthers will be an interesting matchup for you. So,
yep.
It'll be a good test for you guys. I think playing Broncos and Panthers in the first 2 rounds, it's like really battle test you. So I'm excited to see that matchup. Of
course. And like I said, regardless, we'll be here every week this year, Mondays, 6 p.m. on YouTube. Look, we want to say a massive thanks to you guys for tuning in to the show. It really does help us if you like this video and you subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. And if you're listening on audio, rate and review our podcast as well. It does help us, and we really do appreciate your support. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.